Hey guys, I'm Dr. Sebastian Gonzalez. Today I'm going to go over some taping techniques for an oblique strain. Very quickly here before we actually start is number one, the type of tape is actually very important. This is Leuco tape, and the thing you should always use with it is a cover roll right there. They usually come in a packaged set you can get on something like Amazon. This is your standard athletic tape. It's good for some things, but it's not great for this. And the reason is because with an oblique strain or some type of muscular injury, we want to reduce the amount of gapping that occurs over especially the first 3 to 4 days, because we don't want it to continue tearing away. We want it to actually solidify that gap so we can start transferring load and energy through it via rotational movements and so on. This is the exact taping technique that I use for my oblique strain. I use it for patients that I have with very acute oblique strains. Now I'm going to show you with this one, but keep in mind that we're going to be doing this one actually as the taping job, which I'm going to show you in the picture as well. Now the first thing with this is, so this cover roll right here, this is a 2-inch cover roll, and this tape, as you can see, it's not as wide as the cover roll is. It's actually thinner. And the reason is because this tape right here, you don't want to get it on your skin. It'll start creating a tape burn. But the cover roll, usually I have people leave it on for 3 to 5 days, and as long as they're taking care of it when they start to actually take showers and not try to really mess with it too much, it seems to stay for a while. This is a picture of someone that I actually taped. She was a high school soccer player, and this is a picture of my tape job when I had my original oblique strain that you can see in the article I wrote. So you can see there's some similarities there, and I'm not going to lie, the amount of irritation that I kind of felt underneath it, it was extreme enough, and I kind of felt like my skin was rotting away underneath the tape job there. But actually it held extremely well, and there was no issues with the skin whatsoever. And this girl actually too, she felt very good after we resolved her condition, or at least her lack of ability to turn, within about a week or so, and then we started to load it progressively. First thing I did is I cut this cover roll here, and I'm just going to show you in a small section because I don't want to waste too much of this. Now the cover roll, the first thing is that it tends to you have to dry the skin off very well, and I would make sure that if anyone's wearing any lotions or they're oily, then I would definitely take that into consideration, and even take some rubbing alcohol on them and get them really clean, because oiliness under this is not going to make it stick well. And since this stuff is not cheap, you don't want to waste it. Now take a look at this spot right here. I'm just going to roll it up a little bit just so you can see. So I rolled that spot up, and now it doesn't want to go back down. So I've noticed that working with cover roll, you have to be very careful in the beginning when you put it on, because actually it sticks very well to itself too. Now this is the Leuco tape here. Now I'm roughly going to take about here to here. Notice that it's not that much. I can rip it or I can cut it. I've been cutting it recently, mainly because some of the stray ends really, they produce a lot of problems for people, and they start picking at it a little bit more. But this is even a little bit short, but I would have gone a little bit further right there. But for the most part, this is going to be a safe layer on the skin, because as soon as this stuff comes off to the side, even that much, then it's going to start to irritate the person, and they're going to want to take this tape job off really soon. Now I'm going to show you my table right here. I have the benefit of having a really fancy table, so I can demonstrate such as this. Now the first thing we want to do with an oblique strain is, number one, we want to resist movement. And let's just say someone was laying backwards or face up on the table right here. Them extending backwards might bother them, but also tilting them to the side might bother them, and also turning them might bother them too. So really the magic of this is finding which direction of preference they have. Now let's just say, for the sake of the first tape, because I usually do it in different directions, if they are laying face up and they have an issue with extension, let's just say this tape holds really, really firm. Now as I take this table and unlock the table, this tape would have protected against extending, correct? So what we typically do is then we find the amount of extension the person can tolerate. Let's just say if it's here to here, they can tolerate that. I'll tape them well in here, just in just because if you tape them too closely into the range that bothers them, then the tape might give a little prematurely, and that's kind of not the point there anyways. So let's just say if extension bothers them. So typically I'll lay down some cover roll. I'll take another piece of tape on top of the cover roll and make sure that if you look at this end right here, can't really see that much, but I'm going to put it over here just so you can see, is that I don't go the entire way, I only go part way. Over here, I take a lot of care to make sure that I'm not going to also get on the skin layer as well. So I basically just lay down this one, the first strip, just to see, does this affect the person, and we kind of test it. And does that bother you? Is that uncomfortable? No, it feels okay. Great, cool. Which way does it hurt to bend now? And they say, well, it hurts to go this way. Cool, okay, so how do we restrict that movement? And this is the troubleshooting process, or the reverse engineering I like to do with it, is that, so if we don't want them to go this way, then we want to tape them so they stay back this way slightly, okay? So then, if you look at the fulcrum points right here, or if you look at these points right here, they get further away from each other as we do this movement, right? So if I tape them this way, actually it would just buckle. It would start to buckle as we went through the movement. So instead, I'm going to take them just short of about an inch short or so of the range that they can tolerate. And let's just say we're going right here. Now if we bend this way, see how this tensions this top tape, right? And obviously we use cover roll under this. Now the last thing is we might have a rotational component. See how neither one of these tapes really address too much rotation. This one addresses rotation partially, but we might have to solidify that a little bit more even and go more here to here. So I'll do that now. Let's just say here to here. As you can see, I don't play with white tape that much. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate them and see how this one tenses really quickly now, right? So this white tape is absolute crap for this, like I said. So don't focus too much on actually what the tape, this tape habit's falling off, because the other tape is definitely going to stick. This stuff is going to stick, and it's going to do its job very well. But it's all about allowing them to move through the movements that they can and cannot tolerate, okay? If we were to bend them up this way, they can still bend forward and put their shoes on, right? And they can still go this way, and see how it tends to go down, right? So it doesn't restrict that movement. And they can also rotate this direction too, and there's a lot of freedom of movement there. So just be considerate of that when you tape people for this. Now, just because of this type of injury that is so prevalent, but a lot of people don't know what to do with it, I created an e-course surrounding this, and I thought the tape job is something that just to kind of start you guys out on stuff, because I've gotten a lot of questions over the years about what to do with an oblique strain, how do you resolve it, and I've found that a lot of people are very frustrated. They just seem like they can't find any answers surrounding it, and it's really not too hard. There's usually a reason why the oblique tends to tear or become strained, and all we have to do is reverse engineer that process, and it becomes much easier. Now, I've had an oblique strain personally, and if this is your first experience looking at the videos that I do, I had an oblique strain when I was playing baseball. I want to say it was about 4 years ago now. It was tough, it was frustrating, and I felt like every time I sneezed I was about to lose my guts. Even walking upstairs about took me to the floor a couple times. So I've had an experience with this, I understand it, and I thought to make it easier for everybody, I would just publish what we do at Performance Place here to help people through oblique strains even when they can't find help elsewhere. So you can access that course below, and I hope this tape job was enlightening to you. It is one that definitely we don't do all the time, we just do it with acute cases. But obviously, if you're having a problem, you should go see your doc and make sure you don't have a rib fracture or a lung condition, because there's a lot of different reasons why you can have pain up in the torso. And oblique strain is just one of them, and it happens a lot with rotational sports. So check out that e-course. I made it specifically because it's a frustrating thing for people to find information on. So I tried to do the very best I could to make it as comprehensive as possible and give a step-by-step approach of how we do it.